Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Full Time Whistle Podcast. Today, there's me, Kaustubh, and I have Uzair and Devashish with me. So, today's topic is all about the killer in the Premier League, the man who's absolutely, pretty much, chewed up the Premier League and spat it out like it was nothing, making the English league look almost like the Farmers League. We're talking about none other than Erling Haaland, and we're gonna sort of look into his numbers, what his main attributes are, and try and make a prediction as to um, where he might end up at the end of the season. So I think there's only one person to start with, Devashish. What are your thoughts on Haaland now that I think he has proved every doubter wrong, that he is here to stay and this is his league now. So what are your thoughts on him, and what are your observations on his style of play, Ben?
So first of all, I'll just accept. Yeah, I've been proven terribly wrong here. Like I haven't got a prediction as terrible as this one in my entire life. This is a terrible prediction. It's a howler. It's not bad. It's the worst of all time. So the one thing is, I accept that, and he has proven me wrong. But at the same time, I don't even think the people who thought he was going to be good thought he was going to be this good.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the style of play has surprised me because I didn't see that working. And one thing I will say is, people are going with this, comparing him with Alan Shearer and Thierry Henry. Just want to say nothing against him because I don't have anything against him personally. But I just don't see he's in that bracket anyway. Like he's not even close to Aguero yet. Putting him in the same bracket is just simply disrespectful because the way people are talking about Arsenal that they haven't faced a tough team. I actually checked Man City's and fixtures. They haven't even faced a tough team actually either, but they have shown characters who coming in from behind and stuff. But the one thing I'll say about Haaland is he has shocked me, he has shocked everyone. But the one thing to look here is people I think this and people I think are overestimating everything. And in football, this happens when something goes very right, we overestimate it. When something goes wrong, we just totally go beyond it as well. So
Mm-hmm.
what I think is, in if you see during the second half of last season, Man City dropped a lot of points, and Liverpool came closer to them. And in the last eight, I think 6 weeks of the season, Liverpool also dropped a lot of points and started conceding the first goals and struggled in a lot of matches. Why this happens? These things happen because at that level, the tactics, the analytics, the analysis is at such a high level that coaches and analysts and the assistant coaches, the coaching staff work out a system to stop the danger.
Mm-hmm.
And as of now, Haaland is such an anomaly. He is such an anomaly that because the players, every single player that came from the Bundesliga struggled in the Premier League. Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, Naby Keita, Christian Pulisic, you can go on about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the reasons why I thought Haaland would struggle. He has proved that wrong. But we're just 6 games into the season. And very soon, I think after the World Cup, after Christmas, once the second half of the season really gets going, and when we are really in the important part of the season, I think a lot of coaches, a lot of teams have started working on it, and a lot of teams will build a system which will specifically be focused on Haaland. Because what it does is another important thing to look at is Man City playing a false nine system for the last, I think, couple of seasons. They didn't have one player who scored 30, but they had five players who scored 15 or four players who scored 15. So
Mm-hmm.
what that was like, if in a game like let's say Foden was struggling, De Bruyne might like, okay, I'll take it. If Mahrez is struggling, Foden was like, yeah, I'll take it. If Gundogan popped up with some goals, but now with the focus solely on Haaland, I think it's very hard to cancel him out of any games by playing a certain system. But if you can do that, I think you can stop City more than you can ever did in the past because they are now much more reliant on
Mm-hmm.
one player that so many other players are actually not really impacting the game. Like Mahrez is struggling, Foden is not having a great season, Grealish is unaware about it. So there are some things where I feel that they're just overestimating everything, and there are coaches, analysts who can stop him. But of course, he has been great. Is he as good as Shearer, Alan Shearer, Thierry Henry, Van Nistelrooy? Absolutely not yet. But he has been great, and I do believe that after Christmas we will see no goals in 4 matches. Man City struggling to really find him, and that's where some things will start to happen because coaching at that level is so high, and people
Mm-hmm.
do build systems which can stop particular dangerous players.
Okay, as you were talking about the legends, on one of our articles about Haaland, we recently Uzair had created a chart comparing Haaland's start to his Premier League career to some of the greats of the Premier League. So Uzair, could you just take us through like the numbers, like how does Haaland, sort of come up against the likes of Henry, Shearer, Rooney, and the other greats of the Premier League?
Yeah, so as you said, we've created one chart and like we've tried to what do you say, differentiate the start these
Mm-hmm.
greats have had with Haaland. But the issue with that was there was one anomaly.
Mm-hmm.
All this Shearer, Aguero, Fowler, Owen, and all, they were young when they started their career. They were 17, 18, and
Mm-hmm.
it was just not right to compare their starts. Although they did score in their first 7 games, where like uh, Owen scored 3, Defoe scored 4, but
Mm-hmm.
the closest someone got to him was Aguero with 7, and Shearer scored 6.
Mm-hmm.
And at that stage, when you're just starting off as a young kid in the Premier League, that was a great start in comparison. And yeah, as Devashi said, Haaland's numbers have been blown out of proportion. He's been outperforming his XG like crazy, and he's in a Man City team that is suited to rely on him, and it just feeds everything into his strengths. And yeah, so in the previous season, if Man City were to play Newcastle and they were 3-0 down, there was no chance they were going to come back 3 if if they didn't have Haaland, because back then the only style City did have to play was through the lines and make your way by passing. Now Haaland has that ability. He demands the ball, and
True.
when you have a player of his caliber with his strength, his pace, when he demands the ball, you provide it. Especially when you see the goal against Dortmund, Cancelo has oceans of space. He
Mhm.
provides a pin perfect pass, and Haaland with that finish is exquisite. And yeah, you can see with stuff like that, it's changing how City play now. And yeah, as Devashi said, teams will start to kindle to his strengths and work out a system to stop him essentially. And like using his current start to the season, we also made one chart that will predict how many goals he scored.
Mhm.
As we know that the record is 32 goals in like the 38 game season, and the current rate he's going, it is 66, which is mental to think of. But yeah, we know the numbers have been blown out of proportion. He's been overperforming in XG like mad. But if it eventually evens out, I think he'd end up with like 42 or so, which
Mhm.
is reasonable considering how he's been playing. And bar no injuries, he could actually break that 40 goal record. 40 goal.
As you were mentioning the his overperforming of XG, I feel it's not I think the numbers being blown out of proportion. I think it's just a testament of how good a finisher he really is. Because if you see even like the goal against Dortmund, for example, like I don't think any other striker has the physical capabilities of scoring that kind of goal. Like he can just do things that others cannot, and that's just you calling footballing ability or a gift that he has, but he's just got that extra pace, that clinicality in front of goal. His strength, his size, his physique. Like when it comes to striker, I feel like he is the perfect striker. He is tall. He's good in the air. He can, you cannot like out muscle him. Like, the physicality of the Premier League has not been a challenge for him at all. And in front of goal, like given three chances, he's likely to score two of them. And with the likes of, De Bruyne, Gundogan, Foden, Grealish, Mahrez, behind him to constantly supply balls to him, even if he misses three, four shots, there'll still be enough chances for him to get his goal. And I feel like City up till now really lacked that player who wanted to score goals. Like the City always have been a high scoring team, but they were more than happy to see their teammates score. But now when they have a person who wants to be there in the box, who wants to get on the score sheet every single game, who wants to take responsibility for the goals. I think it has led to City changing up their style of play and becoming more vertical and trying more, risky passes with the possibility of losing possession higher. But they are comfortable giving up more possession if that meant that Haaland would have two more shots on goal. So I think Haaland, he's just he's just a different breed, and I think it's just 7 games and he's already got 11 goals. Even if he scores one a game for the rest of the season, he will still reach like 42 goals. So I think it's just a matter of uh, when, not if, he'll break the record. And if he can do it in record time, if he can do something insane like by February, March, if he has 32 goals, I think then maybe you could you know put him in the category of the likes of Shearer and Henry, and maybe not them, but compare his season to the likes of Suarez, Van Persie, and Salah, who had some of the greatest individual seasons to like for us as fans to ever see in the Premier League. So that being said, guys, can we get like final prediction on how many goals exactly do you think he's gonna get at the end of the season? Devashish, let's start with you. How many do you think he's gonna get?
I think he probably will break the record. Probably. I'm not sure if he will break that record because he
Hmm.
has got that injury prone in him. He has that injury as well. And
Hmm.
believe me, man, there is something wrong about it. It's too good to be true, isn't it? Like I'm not even joking. It's too good to just carry on like this. You can't just
Hmm.
carry on, being this good. Something will go wrong. He will, and I don't want that to happen. But these things
Hmm.
happen in football. I've seen it happens with everyone. He will not score for a couple of games and Pep will do something. Because just one thing before I finish, I've seen Man City players not having that arrogance which he brings, which is I rate that. But I've
Hmm.
seen he's only 21 and he's playing alongside players who are 28, 29, who have done so much in their career already. I have seen multiple clips already where Mahrez hasn't passed the ball to Haaland and Haaland goes like, "What the fuck you're doing?" And I'm like, I rate that. Don't get me wrong, I rate that, but Pep does not. And the players will be like, I'm fucking 29 here, and this 21-year-old is telling me what to do. What
Hmm.
should I do, Pep Guardiola? And the Pep will say, okay, I'll do something. These things do happen. They are fucking human beings. Okay, it's not FIFA. It's not just put Haaland up front and score 40 goals. These things happen. These things happen. He's a human being. I'm a human being. He'll get things wrong. So I think he'll probably break the record. I think Salah is 32, right?
Yeah.
So my prediction would be 35, not more than that. But
Hmm.
that's still it's an unbelievable season. So yeah, I mean, great.
Uzair, what about you?
Are you saying only Premier League or the entire season?
I think no, just the Premier League, the
Okay,
Salah's
yeah.
record.
So, I think Salah was on 31 for like the last 5 6 games, and him getting that last goal, it was really hard for him. I remember
Hmm.
he got on the last day of the game, last game week of the season, and it
Season,
was
yeah.
really hard. I feel like, yeah, Haaland will go through patches, but then he'll still end up scoring hat tricks against Bournemouth, or
Hmm.
he might just end up getting 5 goals against Bournemouth to level up the field. Yeah, I think the early 40s, 43, 44 should be an ideal prediction for him, I say.
Hmm. Um, I think even my prediction is that he will he will break Salah's record. But I think honestly, for me, I'm thinking more about if he can break Messi's record of scoring 50 goals in a league campaign, which is the highest in the top 5 leagues. So I think personally, he may break that record if he stays fit, and even the players around him stay fit. Like if De Bruyne gets injured or something like that happens, that may affect his productivity. But I think the only thing that can stop him is himself. Like if his body sort of breaks down and he is out for a lengthy spell, that Devashish, you mentioned that we've seen in the past happen to him. I think that's the only thing that can stop him. And I would say my prediction for him would be, yeah, I think close to yours. Was there like, I would say like 47 goals, 46, 47 goals. Uh, Guys, I think, yeah, that's about it. Thanks for joining me. And yeah, we'll catch you next time. Please like, share, and subscribe to the video. Goodbye.